Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for Bitcoin price prediction based on Elliott wave analysis. Sorry for being absent for the last 10 days guys and not being able to update. So as I mentioned, I was in a trip. It's kind of a business and also mixed trip, I would say, between business and leisure. But here we go, I'm back right now and we're gonna see of course what happened in Bitcoin. Actually, the last video that I made on the channel was exactly of course made for the next weeks, which is of course until now, and of course it was a prediction that I was looking for Bitcoin here. And we're gonna see exactly what happened and how this last update in the deep analysis that I made in the last video is of course still unfolding perfectly as we mentioned before. So we're gonna start with the daily here, where we have of course our channeling for the bull run here, which it might have finished in a wave 1 where we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 5 finished, and we're looking here for a potential wave 2, A, B and a C as an expanding flat. Currently, the channeling here, taken of course from the wave 1 and based on the wave 2 as a base channel, has showed that the price has exited the base channel, the yellow channel here. And we see a wave 3 unfolding, confirmation of course for an impulse here, followed by a wave 4 in the blue channel correctively, and then continuation for a wave 5, where the wave 5 has left of course the correction channel here, the blue channel, plus exiting the base channel and hitting the middle line of the acceleration channel as a signal that this is a wave 5, can be perfectly finished there as a perfect scenario for an impulse here regarding the channeling. Now, what is important is after this wave 1 here, potentially, that it is finished, and then we have of course kind of like a very clear corrective wave downward. However, it has exited the acceleration, it has entered the base channel again, and use the middle line here as a potential for an extension in a wave 5. However, this wave 5, if it is a wave 5, we would like to see a better price action than this. This is not really a nice wave 5 unfolding toward the upside, because if we are in wave 5, we would like to see simply continuation for higher prices, breaking the base channel again and hitting at least this time the lower part of this acceleration channel, because the previous wave 5 has took the middle line. Therefore, as usual and as normally, the wave 5, if it is extended, would like of course to hit at least the lower part of this acceleration channel. Now, in the opposite perspective here, we see of course that the price has still of course ranging inside the base channel here. It could not break it, and it shows of course some weakness, as you can see during the last days. And we mentioned in the last video in the analysis here that we start to see kind of an impulsive wave. We have to be careful from it. It is an impulsive wave that it can be played as a wave A or it can be as a wave 1. Now, it has of course several scenarios, which we're gonna see of course on the daily here, with starting with the bearish scenario, where you have of course stopped for a wave 1 here. You're looking for the A, B and a C as a wave 2, and this wave C is playing here. As we mentioned, this is an impulsive wave, can be a wave 1 and having wave 2 right now finished, and starting the impulse for a wave 3 towards the downside for Bitcoin, where we might see of course a drop for a wave C in an expanding flat here, which is the most bearish scenario. This is our bear market. As we mentioned, after wave 1 you might have of course 3 waves and starting a new bull run here, especially that we have a very strong hold area here around the 70k, which is not very easy to be broken of course, and it is in confluence with the 1.38 1.618 taken from the A to the B to the C here, which is a very nice confluence with this area. And I believe that this is, again, still believe that this is a zero reset for Bitcoin here. This is a zero level. If the price comes back to this area, that would be a great opportunity of course for Bitcoin to move towards 200k and even above it of course in the next bull run. Plus, this might be of course the most beautiful bear market that we might have for Bitcoin, knowing that the previous bear markets were all very sharp and very aggressive, with zigzags downwards. This time we got, of course, an expanding flat, giving you the opportunity for higher prices already. And then, of course, having only one aggressive move downward, finishing a wave C, and then continuation towards higher prices. Now, the next one is, of course, a bullish scenario that we might still have, of course, but don't forget for this bullish scenario to realize a wave 5 here as a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ending diagonal, meaning the bull run is not finished still, of course, in a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, but the wave 5 might be finishing here as an ending diagonal. Now, this ending diagonal, to have, of course, a perfect ending diagonal, you would like to see, of course, at least the perfect targets for a wave 4 here after having 1, 2, 3. Wave 4 has to be an ABC, since you got, of course, an impulse here. It might be your zigzag A, B, and a C for a wave 4, and then, of course, moving towards a wave 5, towards the upside again. Potential targets might be around the 135, 147, but until we get this, we need, of course, to reach this area. At least the 0.38 would be nice, of course, in confluence with a 1-to-1 fib level, which we can have right now after this week. That we saw, of course, we saw a little bit higher prices. You can see the 1-to-1 fib level is exactly at the 0.38 as well in confluence, which is very nice to see here. 101k is to be watched. I would say 100k is very, very essential price action as psychology as well, of course, where we might start to move toward the upside. Unless if broken, of course, we have to keep in mind the bearish scenario that we mentioned for a wave C1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So meaning this 1-to-1 fib level is gonna be a key level. If broken, we're gonna see a potential, of course, for lower. Might be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, and even can be, of course, extended 4 and a 5 again for this wave C. Very interesting. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen with the next price action. So both case scenarios here are suggesting, of course, still for lower prices for Bitcoin, as mentioned in the deep analysis, of course, 10 days ago or 11 days ago, where we might still see, of course, lower prices. This is exactly what I was looking for, and the title of the previous video was exactly why not perfect for bullish. And that because, of course, this wave here, we analyze it very, very deeply and very precisely, and we mentioned that this cannot be, of course, a bullish scenario or a clear impulse toward the upside. And here we go, we see some weakness already there. Now, the final scenario that we have here is a potential, of course, looking for higher prices. So if we are looking for higher prices already from there and not, of course, taking lower prices before we move up or continuation toward the downside, you might have a scenario here, a potential A, B, and a C. The wave C is your 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. However, in this case scenario, you would like to see, of course, an ending diagonal as 1, 2, and then wave 3 might be, of course, an impulse correction impulse. However, if we dive inside it on the 2 hours chart, you can see clearly that this cannot be an impulse. So we can open here the 2 hours chart. So if we are looking here for kind of like an ending diagonal in an A, B, and a C here, you would like to have, of course, a potential impulse. Now, you got, of course, a 1, 2, 3, your wave 4 invalidation. As you can see, invalidation of a bullish has been taken 113k, and that's why it was given already as well in the deep analysis. Once taking this, that means you cannot consider this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 not having an impulse, meaning you cannot be an ABC zigzag, because a zigzag needs, of course, an impulse to cover a wave C towards the upside again. Therefore, the highest possibility here, of course, is to continue downward. As we mentioned, potential here, you have a potential diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 waves downward. You got an A, B, and a C. This is your wave C, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Very clear impulse inside it. Let me just zoom in to show you exactly. So we're talking about this potential A. We got kind of like a running flat in a wave B. And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 waves for a wave 1. I don't like it, but still, of course, it's a signal of weakness towards the upside. Much more signals for lower, and that because, of course, we have here kind of like an expanding diagonal, which I don't like it at all, guys. 1, 2, and then wave 3, 4, and a 5. Again, the wave 5 is horrible. One more time. Again, potential expanding diagonal finished. Again, signal of a weakness. We might move down. Here we go. And we move down very clearly, and very clear, of course, impulse, and still unfinished. And potentially we have 1, 2, 3 here, 4 and a 5. I would say this even is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a wave 3. Currently you're working on a wave 4, and then you might continue downward for a major wave 5. Unless even if this gonna go much more fractal and much more impulsive, it might transform into double 1, 2, and then having 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 to reach the target area, which is a testing area for the next scenario, as we mentioned, A, B, and a C, and then moving toward the upside in case we see, of course, a signal of strength, impulse, a 5 waves, clear impulse in 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Then we call, of course, a potential bullish scenario unfolding again from this area. That was it for Bitcoin. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.